Today I'm joined by Chris Cheatham West. Chris, so good to have you here. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Let's get into it. Can you share a little bit about your background and how you got started in what you're doing today?
Yeah, sure. So my background is in marketing. And so how I got my career started was I got a degree in marketing. And after I graduated, I got an MBA in business administration. And one of my first jobs, my first professional job was at Google as a marketing specialist. And what we did was we would go around the country, United States, and educate businesses on how they can use technology more effectively to grow their business. So this was back when Google Places first became popular, and we would literally go to people's companies and help them get set up. And that was just part of the role. The other role was we would educate larger companies on what new technology that Google was launching that they could be a part of. And so did that for a couple of years, learned a lot, met a lot of people, and just learned where my expertise is, learned more about what I like to do as a business. And in 2014, started my business. And what we do is we do corporate training on AI and help companies implement AI as well so they can see the growth. And that involves marketing, analytics, and other topics as well. So that kind of helped me to end up working with government agencies, and we work with companies and some small businesses too to help them to grow online.
That's an impressive resume. Working for Google, what an amazing opportunity, and what a great foundation for where you are today.
Yeah.
So, what does your day to day look like now? Where do you focus most of your energy?
So a lot of my energy is focused on tasks that I, as the owner, can do. So non-revenue, revenue generating tasks. I mean, so things that are high value. I have a team of people that help as well, but my goal is mainly strategic vision. What can we do as far as reaching our goals, our sales goals? Who are the top type of organizations that we want to reach out to? In our business, what we do is we do outreach, but we also have a more of an attraction model as well, where we try to figure out how can we best market and position our business to be found better online when a lot of these leaders are searching for our services. So the day to day is really just figuring out, okay, what kind of strategy can we do to implement more and be found more, researching top contacts, connecting with other people, and then really training the team on how to really go after some of these top organizations as well. So that's mainly, and then outside of that, whenever I'm not doing that, that's when I go out and speak to some of these organizations. So we do half day presentations, 6 minute presentations or keynotes where I go out and travel to these companies and help them out as well. And so, yeah, just kind of just overall managing the business and making sure we reach our goals and targets.
So, creating the North Star, generating that North Star in which everybody could sort of focus their energy and efforts to. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, exactly.
What's one experiment or bold move that has paid off for you?
Well, the original one is like leaving my job and get going into business. That's probably the one of the main ones. It's kind of risky, right? So a lot of planning was needed. So we had to make sure we had the capital to fund the business. We had to make sure that, well, people actually need our services. And we had to make sure that we're going into the market in the right time, in the right place. So that was the major, and whenever it launched, it was stressful because you really don't know what to expect, right? So you go from having a job and then everything's comfortable, 2 weeks you get paid, but then all of a sudden you're on your own. So that was a big risk that paid off. But what helped me out was just preparation before leaving the job, as far as understanding the research, understanding the market, and really understanding the customer. Because a lot of times people can launch a business, or even if they want to do presentations, they have a topic that they have in mind, but in reality, people aren't paying for the topic. It doesn't solve a strong need. It doesn't solve a strong problem in organizations. So they end up not doing so well when it comes to that type of business. But yeah, that's one bold one. And also another one would be just changing around the services. So, I mean, whenever you add any type of service or product, you're taking on a risk because what you're doing is you're saying you're going to dedicate some of your effort to this new product or service, some of your time, some of your resources, capital to build out these services. So I think that's always been some type of risk that has paid off. So what we try to do is we try to figure out, okay, well, what is one of the trending topics, the trending products that people and organizations want and need, and go after that. And it's risky because you can put all these resources into these new services and then nobody cares. Because there's been many times where I talk to friends, colleagues, other businesses, they launch something, but it's too early in the marketplace because it's needed, but people aren't ready to buy it. So 3, 4 years later, they find out like, hey, now it's a hot topic, now it's a hot product. But by then, the person has already moved on to something else. But figuring out when to go into the market with your product or service is really important because you can either be too early, you could be on time, or you could be too late. So that's definitely always a risk for us.
I guess the other option or the other alternative is the market doesn't need what you're offering in terms of service or product. Do you see that a lot when you're talking with your clients or working with your clients?
Yes, yes. So like they is not a strong need. And I think it can be complicated because maybe one person wants to buy it, one business wants to buy it, but that doesn't mean good enough a large amount of people would actually want to provide that get that service from your business. So yeah, we do see that often as well. And really the good thing about now the where we live in is we have AI and we have so much tools out there that can tell us what the market wants. It can tell us what people are searching for, what's trending up, what's trending down. So we have a lot more data available to us to make these strategic business decisions in where to put our money, where to put our effort and resources.
So critical and so key. Like you pointed out, I think it you need to position yourself from a strategic point of view, do your market research, understand what the market is looking for, and position yourself to provide a solution to whatever that is that the market is looking for.
Yep.
So you've taken a big risk. You used to be a corporate employee, decided to go out on your own. Now we all know that it's hard starting a business from scratch. No journey is without its curveballs. What's something that surprised or challenged your assumptions?
I would say just the journey of everything will be easy, smooth, going forward, right? So like you have a plan in place, you have a business plan, and it could be easy to assume that things are going to be smooth and you're going to reach your goals at the time you set them. Maybe you say you're going to reach your goal in 2 years, or you want to reach your goal in 1 year, and sometimes that goal takes 5 years. All right, so because you never know what to expect, market changes, economy changes, all right, products and service changes. So understanding that it's not always going to happen when you want it to happen. And sometimes it happens earlier, sometimes it happens later. But having that cushion and being prepared mentally to say that you're ready to go at your goals at a longer time period than you might expect. So that's definitely been an eye opener ever since start of the business is, well, you got to make sure that you're ready for if it's going to take a year, if it's going to take 2 years, you got to be ready for that. That's one thing we notice.
So how do you mentally prepare yourself or your team? When you talk about being ready, what does that look like for you and your business?
Yeah, so when it comes to be mentally ready, I think we provide ourselves a cushion by doing the research and thinking about what has our current customers wanted, what has our past customers needed as well, and we make decisions based off of that. So we're more of a data-driven company where we make decisions based off of what do we see out in the market and doing research versus just throwing darts and hoping something sticks. We make sure we have those numbers ready. So that is at least that provides some type of detail that we can monitor. So and also we have analytics on the back end. So one of the skills that I started with at Google is just analytics. So you have a website, yeah, it's good to know, well, what they are doing and where your website visitors are coming from and what pages they're on. But we look at the behavior. So we realized that when people come to our site, they drop off at certain pages. Now we figure out, okay, what can we do to improve that page so that they're not dropping off and they're making that decision to purchase or contact us as well. So knowing and understanding our audiences and how they acted in the past kind of helps us prepare for what to expect in the future. And that's one way, but also just making sure we are diversified, right? So sometimes businesses go out of business because they're only depending on one service or one product. Well, we try to have multiple different services so that if one doesn't work, then we are still able to rely on the other things that we have going on as well. So that kind of helps us mentally prepare.
Yeah, so a lot of, again, a lot of strategy, a lot of data points to sort of help guide you, and then being able to pivot because you are offering multiple products or services.
Yep.
If you could give yourself one piece of advice at an earlier stage in your journey, what would that be?
Let's see. Earlier stage, I would say try to start off with more capital to spend on the business. So, for example, when we started, we had money for just to run the business in general, just for sales. But I would say I would look at it as what are all the areas that we need capital for, such as sales, marketing, admin, tools, training and development for the team as well. So I'll say just overall thinking about what is needed, what can help us grow faster earlier versus learning on our own too much. So I would hire people to help out earlier on. Because I would say I didn't go get hire any coaches or get any training development until like 3, 4 years in. And looking back, I think just having more mentors earlier and just training development on how to grow in our field a little bit earlier, that would have been a game changer as well.
I can so relate. Yeah, it's always, I think it's easier to learn from other people's mistakes. It's easier to grow your business when you have someone beside you who has been there and done that and can, like you said, help you navigate whatever situation you're in a lot faster, a lot easier.
Exactly, yeah, because they've already been through challenges. Most likely, there's people out there that have accomplished what you're trying to accomplish and then been through what you're going through. So why not reach out to them so they can make your process a lot faster and help you reach your goals faster as well, instead of making mistakes on your own.
I love that. I love that. What's one of your biggest wins or proudest moments?
So one of the wins I would say was government contracting. So winning a government contracts with I think government of Canada. Yeah. So winning those because I've we've done a lot of one-off deals with companies. So one of the deals that we did was with the government of Canada, and we had a series of over three to 400 training sessions with leaders over there. And so that, yeah, that was a major success. And it gave us the opportunity to realize that we can definitely move forward in different spaces instead of just working with a certain client. All right. So that's one thing that we definitely proud of.
That's a big feather in your cap. Congratulations. That's a great client to land for sure.
Yeah. Thanks.
Chris, if your business had a reset button, what would you simplify first?
Simplify. I would simplify the hiring process. Yeah, definitely simplify that. So, and just make it easier. Just write down the specific job descriptions and make it more simple. And just realize, well, it doesn't have to be that complicated as I'm making it, right? So, figure out what is really needed for that role. How can you find people that are specific that are good at that role versus just hiring people and hoping they can do 10 different things, making sure that, well, make it simple and, well, what are they good at? What are the people good at? And make sure they're able to work on that area most of the time. And that can open up a lot of doors because then that prevents having to let people go, hire people, let people go all the time. So yeah, that's one thing I would definitely simplify is the hiring process when it comes to the business.
Simplify the hiring and finding the right person for the right job.
Mhm.
Chris, what questions should leaders ask themselves more often but rarely do?
I would say where is the industry headed in the next 5 years is a question that leaders should ask a little bit more. Instead of living too much in the here and now, you want to figure out what are some challenges that might prevent them from growing to the next level. What are some new entrants in the marketplace that are using new technology that can help this competitor pass them up? And what can they be using to stay ahead of the competition at the moment? So I see a lot of that where things are great, things are good right now, and we don't really need to make any change, or things are extremely slow to change. So what happens is 5 years down the line, call us struggling and realizing that, well, their competition implementing some new technology and they're trying to catch up now. So I just had a client recently where they said they're in Germany and they're saying, yeah, over in our country, a lot of times we feel like we're behind when it comes to technology. And this time, when it comes to AI, we want to make sure we're ahead of our competition. And so that conversation like that is what needs to be had in order to make sure companies are staying relevant and just staying ahead.
Yeah, so crucial and so key. And on that note, I mean, it sounds like you won't be out of work anytime soon, especially with the way AI has been trending. And like you said, people are waking up to it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep. And that's one of the things that we've been trying to help companies do is just be ahead, understand how AI works, how they can use it for not only their business to stay ahead in the marketplace, but also how can their entire company use it for productivity. And people always think that, well, when it comes to AI, it's all about efficiency and saving money. But in reality, AI is more than just efficiency in companies. It can help prevent burnout. It can help a better work-life balance for employees and help with employee retention if you use it correctly because it can make their job easier.
So key, so key. Chris, if we were to sit down in a year's time from now, what would you love to be celebrating?
I would say celebrating that my company's structured and there's systems in place in all the different areas and all the different departments. And I'm not the one doing all 90% of the work, right? So that's what I would celebrate. Yeah.
So, what percentage of work are you doing these days?
I would say 70. I want to say 70. So if we can bring that down to 40, that would be great. That would be great for this year at least. Yeah.
That would definitely be worth it celebrating for sure. Chris, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Where can listeners find you online?
So LinkedIn, Chris Cheatham West. Also my website, chrisinwest.com, and Instagram as well at chrisinwest.com.
And we'll be sure to have those links in the show notes. And once again, Chris, thank you so much for joining me on the Leadership Lab.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for spending your time with me today on the Leadership Lab podcast. My hope is that this conversation sparked a new perspective or reinforced something you already knew. Until next time, keep leading with curiosity and intention.